I'm a complete beginner to fighting games, and up until now I've only spent a few hours playing Street Fighter 6, mostly just casually with friends and family, and I've always stuck to modern controls. But for the next 7 days I set myself a challenge, and that was to learn classic controls from scratch, pick one main and stick to it, and see just how far I can climb in ranked. Now, is it really possible for someone like me, who's only ever played with modern controls and has never touched Street Fighter 6 in his life before, learn classic controls and climb ranked in just 1 week? This video will take you through my 7-day journey of trying to learn Street Fighter 6 with classic controls, so without wasting any time, let's get into it. My focus for these next 7 days was just on fundamentals, understanding the basics of Street Fighter, learning how classic controls worked, and getting comfortable with the new input style. But before anything else, I needed to pick a main. And that main was Ryu. Ryu is the poster boy of Street Fighter, and he's often recommended to beginners like me because of his balanced toolset and easy playstyle. So it was a no-brainer choice for me. I started day 1 by playing through the tutorial, and this gave me a good understanding of the new system mechanics in Street Fighter 6 and how classic controls work. I then went into Ryu's character guide to learn a bit more about the character and his moves. Day 1 was just for me to absorb as much information as possible before learning any combos, learning how to apply the complex system mechanics. After spending some time practicing classic inputs and going through the tutorials, I jumped into a few online matches, and while I didn't perform amazingly, it wasn't a complete disaster either. It was clear that this was going to be a learning process. Day 2, I went onto YouTube and I watched a few fundamentals guides, and there I came across terms like neutral game and footsies. The neutral game is the phase of the match where neither player has a clear advantage. No one is being comboed, hit, or trapped in the corner. During neutral, both players are controlling space, positioning carefully, using normals, projectiles and movements to find openings, and baiting mistakes or whiffed attacks. If you have a bad neutral game, this gives your opponent a clear advantage. You'll often get hit trying to make moves and lose control of the pacing of the match. A strong neutral game gives you more chances to open up your opponent without relying on random hits. Footsies is a game within the game. It's a key part of the neutral game. It's the art of controlling the space just outside of your opponent's attack range, using movement and pokes to outmaneuver and punish them. A strong footsies includes the following: good spacing, staying just outside of the range of your opponents so when they whiff an attack, you can respond with your own. Utilizing fast and safe normals, like crouching medium kicks, is essential to having a good footsies game. You need to utilize your pokes so when an opponent whiffs, you can keep them in check. Which leads us to whiff punishing. This is capitalizing on when your opponent whiffs a move by countering them with a strike. And the final key is baiting your opponent. You can walk in and out of their range to bait an attack, and when they whiff, you can hit back. By the end of day 2, it became clear to me that if I wanted to climb, I needed to improve my fundamentals in these areas. On day 3, I wanted to try out other characters. I picked Ryu without really exploring the other characters, so I tested a few different fighters and ended up landing on Kimberly. Her fast, aggressive playstyle suited me perfectly, and she felt natural to use. Switching meant restarting my ranked climb, but I felt that my fundamentals were much stronger now than when I first started. After a couple hours of playing ranked, I was able to climb all the way to silver as Kimberly, and this felt like a big achievement for me. Starting all the way at rookie without understanding how the game mechanics work, without understanding the different game states, and not knowing how classic inputs work. By putting the time in, I was able to climb all the way up to silver. And I know this isn't a great rank, it's quite low tier, but it felt like a big achievement for me from where I started. Day 4, I wanted to dedicate to training. I spent most of my time in the training mode and combo trials, purely focusing on execution and consistency rather than ranked matches. I had identified a few areas where I was struggling, specifically anti-airs and dragon punches, so I spent this day focusing on those two things, and although it wasn't the most exciting day, if I wanted to improve, I had to practice. On day 5, I was kind of missing playing Ryu. His playstyle really appealed to me, throwing projectiles and waiting for an opponent to jump in so you can anti-air. But I felt like he was a bit too slow for me. So I heard that Akuma was similar to Ryu, just a bit more fast and more dynamic, so I decided to pick him up. And again, after jumping into ranked with Akuma, I was able to get into silver. It felt good knowing that I didn't have to start at rookies anymore, because I was able to pick up characters easily and have a basic game plan to get me all the way to silver. By this point, I set my eyes on gold. The next 2 days I'd focus on practicing and improving so I could reach gold. I was still struggling with few of the system mechanics like drive impacts, parries and drive rush. I couldn't really execute these well, and whenever my opponent drive impacted me, I wasn't able to counter it perfectly. So I spent some time practicing these system mechanics, and although I was still struggling with them, I felt like I had made some improvements. On day 6, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed. Up until now, I was basically playing at least 5 hours a day, and it was just too much for my brain to handle. So I decided to take a rest on this day before the final push on day 7. On day 7, I made the final push for gold. I was still struggling with anti-airs, core system mechanics, and perfectly executing the classic inputs. I also still had a pretty weak neutral game and footsies game, and this held me back. I wasn't able to make it to gold, but I was happy with how far I'd come. There were clear signs of progress. My motion inputs were much cleaner than day 1, and my anti-airs were starting to become more reliable. And because of this, I was happy with the progress I had made. There was a clear difference from my playstyle from now compared to day 1, and I was looking forward to improving more with this game. By the end of the 7-day challenge, although I didn't reach gold, it was clear how much I had improved. I went from barely understanding motion inputs and system mechanics to actually being able to use them, even if it was imperfectly at most times. There's still a long way to go. I need to refine my footsies game, I need to refine my neutral game, learn how to combo more effectively, and get a grip on the system mechanics. But this challenge showed me just how deep Street Fighter 6 really is and how rewarding it can be to push through the learning curve. I'm excited to keep grinding and see how far I can go.